This video is sponsored by Squarespace. I loved the Evil Dead series since I was a little kid. It's not my favorite franchise, but it's up there. 1 is the best, 2 is the most iconic, and everything afterwards is pretty alright. My favorite character in the franchise is not Ash, it's the cabin. A screen-used miniature of the cabin from Dead by Dawn was at one point available at auction, but a little out of my justifiable price range. Thankfully, I can just build my own, and that's what I set out to do. I started by finding a car that I could use. The car is another great non-living character in the series. I couldn't order and wait for a die-cast one to come in the mail, but I found an STL for one that I could scale down and 3D print. And the somewhat random-sized car I decided to print was my starting point for scale reference. That being said, I did it at a size that was eyeball close to 28mm scale. And since the auction site selling the screen-used model had amazing clear photos, I figured I could use them as my reference for the cabin. I just needed to put them in Photoshop with an image of a car that was sized to the same size as the model that I printed out. And then I could adjust the cabin to be the right size-ish in comparison to the car. I did do some quick napkin math using the full-size real-life Delta 88's measurements versus the measurements of a standard door to get me close enough. Then I had these great printouts to use while constructing the cabin. I'm not usually one to try and do accurate builds. I prefer a more freeform, inspired by, but not directly copying style of building. But in this case, I felt it was right to try and be as close as possible to the source material. And this sort of approach would be a nice new challenge for me since I wouldn't as easily be able to just pivot with mistakes and take things in a different direction. I'd have to be a lot more deliberate in my choices. And as far as source material goes, this was another challenge. There isn't just one Evil Dead cabin. There's the one that was used in the first movie, which was a real cabin in the woods that was found and utilized in the film. But that one burned down at some point. The cabin in Evil Dead 2 was a replica built on a soundstage. And while very close to the first one, it did have some slight differences. And then there's the miniature prop that I'm referencing. That was just used in a few certain special effects shots, and it's not a one-to-one exact copy of the full-scale replica. I had to decide which version I was going for, and I opted for the cabin from Evil Dead 2 since it had some stronger accents to it, and because the prop I had as a reference was from that movie. But I figured I'd go with a blend of states of the cabin, more in line with what's seen later in the movie, and closer to the full-size soundstage one. I really enjoyed this process of trying to keep everything spot on to what it was supposed to look like. It forced me to stay on track with things, but it also made me think about the building process a little bit differently than usual. There's always problem solving within a build, but usually I tend to think, okay, so I have these things, or this material, or this technique. What can I do with it? How can I apply it? What can I make out of it? And that usually forms my path. I guess it's a weird way of working backwards when I really think about it. I tend to take a technique or something and then build something based on what I can do with that technique. And I'd wager that the usual route people take is wanting to have or do a particular thing and then figuring out how or what to do that with. You know, a bit more of a start to finish linear method. But that's just not how I tend to work during a creative process. So doing this replica forced me to think in an alternate way. I couldn't just take cool things or ideas I had and try to find a way to apply them. I had specific things I was trying to accomplish, and I needed to find ways to do them as accurately as possible. This definitely isn't how I would want to work all the time, but it's good to work in different ways so that you exercise different parts of your creative brain and different types of problem-solving skills. And I think people often overlook the fact that creation is just a series of problem-solving steps. And working through those problems is what leads to new ideas and cool new things. In this case, I painted my wood with ink, without any primer first. And before I filled in the chinking between the logs. Yes, that's what it's called. It is called chinking. This forced me to then find a way to do that without messing up the woodwork. If I had worked in my normal routine of completely building something, then black bombing it, and then having to paint it all out, I would never have discovered the pleasure of running compound between tiny wood slats using a precision glue bottle applicator, which ended up giving me a fantastic and natural looking log cabin wall section. Now, while I find and attach some small branches to use as the 4 main roof supports, let me tell you about this video sponsor. Squarespace. Squarespace is the best place to host a domain and build a slick website. I moved my blackmagiccraft.ca website over to Squarespace as part of a previous partnership, and then I immediately migrated my idolsoftorment.com domain and website to Squarespace as well. And for that one, I paid for it myself, real money, because the experience was so much better for me than the host that I had left. The built-in templates, the easy editing, the surprisingly clean and straightforward user interface, the tools for mailing lists and web stores are unmatched. I especially love it because it integrates with the courier I use for shipping product, meaning that making packing slips and labels is basically an instantaneous process with no effort required. Go to Squarespace using the link in my description and get a free trial. And then when you're ready to launch it, use the URL squarespace.com/blackmagiccraft to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain using the code blackmagiccraft. For real, no shill, it's good. So there is still so much to do on this project. I made a door with holes from Ash's shotgun blast. I made the planks for the boarded up windows and put these in place using some double-sided tape and then a few drops of super glue. I painted, then attached the door. And then there was the roof, which is supposed to be like a tin metal roof that has some ridges in it. I have a scoring board, which is basically just a board with a bunch of grooves in it. You can run a boning tool down these grooves to make indents in paper, which are meant to help you fold stuff into boxes or cards. And this was a very simple and effective way to make the ridges on the cardstock. It looked pretty convincing. It only took a couple minutes, and I gotta say I'm quite happy with this step. I think it's a big win and an idea that could be useful for a lot of different things in the future. One of the more difficult details to make was the branch lattice that is on the left-hand side of the deck. To do this at scale, something like twigs would be too big, so some simple hemp string would be more appropriate. But I had to find a way to turn the string into lattice, which was not easy. I made a sort of simple loom with push pins and some foam so that I could run lengths of string, then weave others through it. This was not easy. I totally struggled, but it was meant to look like woven branches, so there was a good amount of room for it to look wonky, which worked in my favor. The process of attaching it was also a huge pain in the ass, probably my least favorite part of the whole project, but I powered through it and I got to a point where I was okay with it. And once I applied a coat of diluted Mod Podge tinted with brown ink, it looked more than decent. It actually looked pretty great. The same string dipped into the tinted Mod Podge was also a great way to do the dead vines that wrapped around the posts on the porch in the later versions of the cabin. The swinging porch bench was something I honestly didn't feel like making, but it's so iconic it had to be there. So with some tedious coffee stir stick crafting, I got myself a little swinging porch bench, and I think I did the real one justice. Of course, I needed a big old fieldstone chimney. I left this until later in the build because for me, it's probably the easiest thing to make. Just a chunk of XPS foam, cut to shape, then all the stonework drawn in with a sharp pencil. I textured it with a ball of crumpled foil, and painted it out in dark gray. Just some light dry brushing and a bit of pan pastels to give a drier, dustier, tarnished look. Some black pigment powder around the top of the chimney made it look soot covered and as if it had actually been used a bunch of times. At this point, the actual cabin was done and I could move on to making the scenic base. I committed to a size and shape in paper, which I then cut out in MDF. I also cut some strips of the MDF to make the sides. The base got hot glued to some 1/2-inch foam, then cut to match. And then I very haphazardly bludgeoned my way through adding the sides. At this point, I had over 30 hours of work into this project, and I was having a moment where I was losing steam. So I didn't do this with much finesse. That was okay though. I had faith in what I would be able to do later to clean it up. I have a personal dislike for dioramas that just have a completely flat scenic base. It makes things look like a kid's science fair project. But this scene was actually set in an open, flat area, so I couldn't do too much. To give it a little bit of ground variety, I made a section of double thick foam on one side to have a little bit of a hill. This is actually true to the movie set. There was a hill with a work shed on that side. It just wasn't this close to the cabin. Since the main area was so flat, I made sure to keep lots of little subtle bumps in the modeling compound, ensuring that it didn't get smoothed out too much. This would at least make it look more realistic and less like something a kid made on the last day of spring break because his research project on the Royal Canadian Mounted Police was due the first day back to school. Not that I'm speaking from some deep childhood memory where I built a log cabin RCMP outpost in grade 5 or anything like that. My shoddy frame got fixed up with some joint compound and an orbital sander, followed by several coats of spray paint sanded between each coat. I base painted the ground before applying a watery glue and covering it with a combination of flocking, ballast, and, of course, tea. I also don't like the look of scenery flocking right out of the bottle. It always just has that model railroad look. It's really artificial, so I prefer to tint it a bit with some ink and paint just to take the edge off of things. To make the base really shine though, I would need some teeny tiny leaves covering the ground. I managed to find a handful of leaves that weren't still buried in snow and used a Green Theft World punch to make a whole load of teeny tiny leaves that I could sprinkle over some spray adhesive to make things look legit. The ground was still too basic, so I busted out my collection of gamer grass and picked a variety of suitably fall-colored tufts to decorate this thing. Gamer grass is awesome. All of their stuff is banger, and they have so many different varieties available. They're not a sponsor, I'm just saying you should check them out. While all of this had been going on, I also painted out Ash's car. One problem with it was that since it was a printed resin model, it had no windows, and I didn't think I could make windows that didn't look like shit. But thankfully, I remembered that there's a scene in Dead by Dawn where the windows actually get smashed out, so all I needed to do was make some broken glass out of clear plastic, which was a much more achievable thing for me to do. With the car in place, I suppose this thing could be called done. But I felt it would be better with a little Bruce Campbell. Finding a good Ash STL was not easy. I ended up finding one that looked great. The problem is that it was meant to be large scale, like several inches high. So the model was broken into many pieces and not designed to be printed really small. But I did it anyway. This resulted in having to assemble him and a lot of problematic parts like the rifle barrel and chainsaw blade. The rifle barrel was intact but too thin. I was able to fix it up with some milliput. There was no chance of the chainsaw blade printing out properly at the scale though. It would just be hair thin. So I made a replacement with plasticard, which I was worried would look terrible, but honestly you can't even tell. It looks fine, and it was really strong. I also had to make a little stone under one of his feet because of his pose, but this did help me pin the model more easily for painting. And speaking of painting, I gave him a very fast paint job, and he was ready for his forever home. The rock looked weird and out of place, so I hid it amongst some fallen branches, which again is movie accurate. The model I referenced was actually used to make the scene where a bunch of trees fall down and smash on the ground and the cabin. And I think that's why the screen used miniature is now missing some parts like the bench, because that's where the trees hit.
The book served as a passageway to the evil worlds beyond.
So with about 40 hours of work, but work that was mostly really fun, I am now left with my very own miniature Evil Dead cabin, and I didn't have to pay $30,000 for it. I think it shows pretty well, and more importantly, I think it's an accurate and respectful replication of a set piece that I truly love, and hopefully it does this iconic piece of horror history justice. This one isn't going to stay in my studio with my other miniatures, it gets to live in my real happy place, my movie room. And that alone illustrates how much I love this little build. I hope you had as much fun watching this video as I did making this thing. If you did, do me a solid. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the like button or the dislike button, it doesn't matter. Just hit a button so YouTube knows this video's worth watching, and leave me a comment below. And I sure wouldn't be upset if you shared this with some people who might like it. If you want to support this channel and the work that I do, there's a couple cool ways you can do it. One is Patreon. You don't get much for it, but I sure do appreciate it, and that help goes a long way. You can also do your hobby shopping on blackmagiccraft.ca. Just buy stuff you would normally buy for your hobby anyway, but do it through those links so that I get a small commission at no extra cost to you. Or if you want to actually get something cool out of your support, I've got 4 new really cool t-shirts that are available on my website. So you can grab one of those, look cool and all that other stuff, and yeah, help me keep making cool things. That's it. That's all. I'll see you next video. Cheers.
This blood that was used to ink the book. In the year 1300 AD, the book disappeared.